Steve Watson, and Barely Bear. The date is the 25th of February, 2026. So, February 5th, I came in for surgery, and I was here for 13 days. I escaped for 2 days, and I got brought back. And it seems like I'm about to be discharged. So I'm in the healthcare team for the floor. It's called Main 6 here at St. Raphael Campus of Yale New Haven in New Haven, Connecticut. And I just wanted to express my thanks. So in order to care for anybody, I mean, there's a million, architects and engineers and maintenance and security and valet parking people and x-ray technicians and CAT scan machine repair technicians and nurses and PAs and all the rest, but I tried to make a complete accounting of every single person I encountered so that I can thank them by name. Obviously, some names I'll have gotten wrong or incomplete, like often, 4 people show up to attend to you and you can't get everybody's name, or you think you got them straight, and the moment they finish, somebody else comes in and says, I'm so-and-so, and maybe you can't read their name badge, or you just got the first name, or maybe you kind of missed it. So, of course, some of these could be wrong or incomplete. My point is to thank everybody. I felt really cared for here at M6, Main 6. When I showed up, the patient family liaison was the first person I met, Maddie. Really, really, really warm, comforting, reassuring, maybe perky, I guess, friendly, engaged, didn't seem pro forma and robotic, even though I'm sure a lot of her job is that, like you have to meet the patient, intake, get them what they need, tell them where they're going. But that felt really nice. Then I met Charlize Carr. Oh, by the way, a lot of these people, I'm not quite sure what their position is. And some of them I might have written down their position, but I'm actually incorrect. Like, I think they're there to take vitals, but they're really a nurse, or, so I think Charlize started doing some of my intake stuff. And then Sissy was also there in the intake, and she was very excited, as was Charlize, to meet Barely Bear. They actually printed Barely Bear an armband, a wristband like mine, and wrote Barely Bear on it, and you can see how long we've been here. It's wearing out. And then Sissy brought a doll for Barely Bear, so she made out of an exam glove, like a latex exam glove. They blew up and markered and festooned and brought this exam glove doll. So that was pretty awesome. Next was like a pre-op bed or bay. I met Marcy. Then I met Stacy Bird from Patient Services, and then Lynette DeLucia, who was the pre-op nurse. Then I met the anesthesiologist, Dr. Philip Meeks, and Dr. Chowdhury as well. Then I met the nurse Katie Barbaro, or Catherine Barbaro, but she went by Katie. She was the OR nurse. I met Becky, the anesthesia nurse. And then I get to meet Amako Zoka. So that would have been when I got up to Main 6, I guess. So after I was back, Amaka means beautiful, and that's correct in every way. She's just wonderful, and I got to see her quite regularly over the approaching 4 weeks. Then I met Doris, who I think is a charge nurse or something similar. Then I met Josie, mother of 7, nearly 8-year-old Isabella. You could see how Josie was brought up. She was often an overnight nurse for me. Her mother never got mad and loved roses, had a green thumb, and that really seems to have all flowed through to Josie. So I'm very, very grateful. I got to have Alejandro as an overnight nurse. Erica Watts, clinical technician, who was my clinical tech overnight last night as well. And like Josie's mother, Erica's mother is a really great gardener. I know that she keeps snake plants now, and that's pretty special. I had Maria Santiago come and do an overnight blood draw. And then Sandy, who I know is in charge of the IV team, but I think we can consider her like the unit manager, like patient services, but like the unit manager. Like, I think she runs the huddles here, and she seems to be administratively in charge of the team, but also in like a den mother way in charge of the team. Really looking out for the admin, greeting patients by name, staying late, making it in through snowstorms, and really well respected by the team, and concerned for emotional and psychological well-being of everybody, not just, like what shows up on a chart, I guess. So I got to meet Lyman, the RN, who he was here many times, often didn't have me as his patient, but he did at certain points. Nicole, clinical tech, and very soon to be an actual nurse, like very, very exciting. Really warm, connected, compassionate, kind, considerate, caring, just very special. Then the great Maria Feliciano, who's with housekeeping, and just shows up with like joy and efficiency and humor and positivity and personality and a bit of commotion and noise, and like really, really warm, absolutely bursting full of love, working through great difficulty with a bad back, but devoted to her work and and the patients, maybe you would think that the person that empties the trash and mops the floor and wipes the walls down is inconvenienced by the patients in the way while they're trying to cover 1 or 2 floors on a shift, understaffed, and get things cleaned, and only given so much time to get a room ready. And I never once had the feeling that Maria thought her job was just the space, like the physical space. I don't think she thinks that way, feels that way. Thank you, Maria. Elena was on the IV team, came to do a port flush. Dr. Lee Young who I saw many times in the morning. Kim came from PTOT. I think probably my first day. This would have been, post surgery. I got to meet Ada, care manager, discharge organizer. I know her mother was a high school history and English teacher, and she seemed to not just be ticking off the boxes for discharge, but was offering to know you as a person and understand your particular concerns, if any, or questions, and help to outline what little we might know about a discharge plan at the time that I saw her. And I got to see her a few times. I got to meet Jay from meal planning, and then Evans K. Simmons, PA, best friend to his wife, son of Evan Simmons, dearest friend of Steve. I think if I say much about Evans, I'll just break down crying. So, very capable, very concerned, very patient, very slow, meaning like unhurried. Caring for the whole of a person. We had many great conversations, and he was clearly a giant spotlight for me. I think he's waving to me from the door now. They were peeking in the window for me and trying to give me privacy, and he just waved. Eddie Tupper from the pharmacy, Ashley Louis, minister, who came in and talked to me for a long while, Alton Fuller, my fist pump partner. Alton was with me many nights I was here, and funny and colloquial and engaged, and really interested in getting the floor to run well, and never once seeming off-put by any request. Really good memory, very attentive, very thoughtful. There was Hawa, who's a night floor nurse, Nikki, who was a nurse overnight, Amaka again comes up. I guess I duplicated some names. Jessica, phlebotomist, Dr. Godfrey, and Ashti, a student, but I guess Ashti's name will certainly come up again. The great Hugh Potter, nurse from Colombia, and actually a stuffed animal, a hippo that we got at the gift shop here. Was named now Alton Hugh, after Alton, who I mentioned a moment ago, and Hugh the nurse. Hugh is like a fast walker, very, very much interested in improving his education, understanding the gestalt, the forest for the trees, really interested in understanding why something is happening, particularly if I have a question, not just saying, well, here's what it says, or here's what the doctor's order was, but let's see if we can reach out and pursue that and understand why, and ask after alternatives and so forth. And oftentimes I lost those battles, which is fine, but by losing the battles, I didn't maybe get what I thought I would want, but I came away with an understanding, and Hugh seemed as interested as a patient advocate to come to those understandings as a person seeking his own education. So he's rather inspiring and always nice to see them. Then Mikey, Mikhail Media, clinical tech, he nicknamed me Sparky. Uh, he's he grew up in Milford and now lives north of here, and he's very enthusiastic and humorous, and thoughtful, ready for humor, ready to hear what's funny, certainly warm at the bedside, and quite the hard worker. I got the feeling that everybody enjoys working with him. I got to meet Ronnie, the phlebotomist. Marcella Vici was a nurse who came to deal with my port when it was causing difficulty here, and she's very, very patient, very slow with that, and certainly quite appreciated. Lyndon Allister from Patient Transport was quite a bit of fun to walk through the labyrinthine hallways and elevators. The X-ray techs, Talissa Cora, Gia and Taylor downstairs. Rochelle was an X-ray tech, or is an X-ray tech, who I met when she was covering reception in X-ray or imaging, diagnostic imaging, when people needed a break, and I guess she took over that job to give needed break, and I thought that was really wonderful. Ronasia Brown from Patient Transport, very a lot of energy in a small package, a lot of personality. Hugo from Patient Transport, Zane Frederick from Patient Transport, the two of us had some great conversations. I met the skin team, Deborah and Dina. At one point they came in to check on me. Michael Gould, a PA on the surgical team. Phil Bellamy came in to repair the second bed they got for me in the room from I guess it's Hill-Rom is the bed repair, the bed manufacturer, I think. Amaya Johnson from Patient Transport came to pick me up. And then there's the wonderful Maritza Soto Hogaboom, right? Soto Hogaboom. Yeah, Soto Hogaboom. Maritza, we are on the top floor here, main 6, 6th floor building, and Maritza I nicknamed the skylight, the sunlight skylight. No matter the weather or time of day, no matter the cloud cover, wherever she is, she opened up a skylight in the halls, in the rooms, in the ward. Absolutely extraordinary. Grandma to Parker Max and Oliver, master crochet teacher, and all around warmth. She has adopted Dr. Bear and his cherry nose to look after staff here and patients when I leave. Morgan Fletcher and Catalina were radiology techs when I had my CAT scan. Dylan was the Patient Transport. Then I got to meet the daughter of Francis, Carol Moore, who is the reception area for diagnostic imaging. Carol Moore, extremely warm. We had, absolute breakdown in tears and hugs. Real spiritual heart-to-hearts down there. Her mother Frances, I think about who's just 94 and last year lost a leg. But I have no doubt the strength of Carol Moore is both in her mother Frances, but also will be found in Carol when her mother falters, because Carol ain't faltering. Randall Jules, MD, from my surgeon, Dr. Duffy's team. Michael Tandello, nurse. I don't think he was my nurse for a very long time, but we connected. I feel like he has such great confidence earned in him through all the staff here, was what I could observe. I think we just checked in on the halls, or he quickly got me something here or there, but he wasn't really covering me. But I have since had him as my nurse, and really extraordinarily. And when we'd pass each other in the hall, we'd remind each other, never quit. And I'm thinking, don't you quit this nursing thing. And he was like, don't you quit your recovery. So thank you, Mike. Ivy, food service dietary technician. Betsy on the Ivy team. She came to maybe replace my port or reconfigure the access because it was problematic. She was very special. I remember her telling me about her Maine Coon cat, Hannah, named after the actress Daryl Hannah, and had a really great conversations with Betsy. Adelaide came in, I guess, a clinical tech. And then at the Seine, the wonderful Rosamond Agyapong, fantastic wife and mother, fantastic nurse, stellar human being, like all the warmth that you could ever want, the best laugh, period. We can just settle that now. And she is the overnight nurse, and Agyapong means Agya is head of a family and Pong is strong. And yes, exactly, yes, precise, perfect, yes, exactly, yes. Just to Agyapong, if you ever see this, Eya, Eya, Eya. Erica, who I think I already mentioned, but I doubled up some of these names, clinical tech. Then Erica Rogers, patient transport. And then the wonderful x-ray techs who I got to see many, many, many times, Sierra, Alvarado, and Nev. It got the impression that Nev was a little bit newer, but that they were really trusting her, and she was working hard and really capable. I didn't get the impression she was newer in terms of how I was cared for or attended to, but just the little subtle cues that kind of had this sense that maybe she's in training or something like that. And I could be wrong. But the care from each was wonderful, and they were very warm, and I got the sense that they saw me on the list, because I must have gone down there like 8 times, and they made sure to come out and meet me and make sure that they would see me instead of somebody else. So that was really special. And then in the diagnostic waiting room, the reception, I got to meet Bubbles, who, anyway, her name's Bubbles. Come on, that's just, you already know how great she is. Really, Angie is her name, or Angela Hendricks, but exceedingly warm, exceedingly thoughtful. She'd make sure she could get me a warm blanket, because I'd be sitting there uncomfortable in a gurney or a wheelchair for the 4th or 5th time, and yeah, that was very nice. Bubbles says that she's a cheetah in another life, and that really does seem like the perfect animal, a cheetah. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. Jamal from patient transport, I remember him telling me that his whole life attitude is grateful and humble. Grateful and humble. I got to meet the nursing student Taki, or Takia Awal, introverted person, really loves philosophy and poetry. As part of her student stuff, she had to give me a head-to-toe exam, and her professor, I think Gabriel Delora, came, who appeared to think that she did a great job. I did too. And I think she's going to be great in whatever her career brings her. I remember Gladi, a wonderful lady from Haiti, came for soil linen pickup, and we had some brief conversations, I guess, and connections. But while brief or tenuous, they were not without value. And Josiane, I think is the pronunciation, a clinical tech I had. Tony Graham, another patient, Transport Anthony, Tony Graham. I had CAT scan techs, Morgan, Fletcher, and Ryan. Then Clark was in the waiting room for diagnostic imaging. I got to see Zane Frederick again for patient transport. Then Ron Kuhl came up from the laboratory to do blood draw. You can see I'm still queued up for blood draws. Kenny came from food service. I got to meet the CNA Samuel Meskill. Then the PIC team came, Stephen Harper, nurse, who I guess is having back surgery shortly, or now maybe. I know he was due to be out. Mark McKeon, another nurse, was there from out of state. I want to say something like South Carolina. Now I've forgotten. But to, I guess, cover for Stephen while he recovered from surgery. So we hope that you're well, Stephen. Anesh came from the food service team. And I see Sandra Weber's name again, the main six Huddle House mom. So we'll thank her again. Juan Hernandez came from patient transport in the diagnostic imaging waiting area. I got to meet Genesis, then Sierra and Nev again, Kyle again, patient transport. The lab sent Jason Benjamin for a blood draw. I had Fallon as a nurse. Then Dr. Carbinieri. I think it's Carbintieri. Sorry. I feel like I should know her better. I got to see her many, many times. She was successful in negotiating ice chips for me. I was on nothing by mouth. I think that she eventually said 2 ice chips, and then I got her to agree to 3, and then it became 3 per hour. It turned out I never got those 3 per hour. I just got an initial 3, but that wasn't her fault. And she definitely went to bat for me and negotiated, and I will not forget that. Then the great Brianna Charney, RN, who was my nurse many, many nights. Let's see if I can remember, huh? Can I remember? Mother of 7 cats. So I know there's Cuddy and Aoki. I want to say Beanie, Nike, Tolliver. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Tolliver, Beanie, Nike, Cuddy, and Aoki. Oh, so it's 5. Did I get them all? I guess I got them all. Okay. I guess I got them all. Sorry about that. And Brianna actually is my pinky partner, um, which is really, really special. She had a tattoo of the word energy in this sort of waveform font, which is a good reminder every time, I see her forearm a lot when she's giving medicine and taking blood and all that kind of stuff, and blood pressure and so forth. Although I don't think she really took my blood pressure that much. That would have been a clinical tech. But she was open to taking me for a walk eventually off the floor so I could kind of mentally be anywhere else. We went to the gift shop and we adopted a turtle who I named after Brianna. So that's Brianna Aldwinkle, the turtle, who I don't have here with me to show you, but Brianna's over in the room. Anyway, really, really special. She went over and above, staying here overnight during the snowstorm so as not to miss the next shift. And not the only one to do so, but really personable and friendly, not just like a staffer. Like, really felt like you have a capable friend coming in to check in on you, of course, over and over through the night. Not just somebody, I'm here to do a job, but hey, my friend's in there, I want to check on my friend. And I also have these skills, so I want to check, your medicines and ask how you're doing and look at your incision site and that sort of thing. And we got to share a picture eventually when I checked out, she and Maritza. So they have that picture, I presume. That's very, very special. And Purcell Boyd from Patient Transport. I know he was talking about he's working in patient transport to get his schooling paid for so he can go to EMT firefighter school. And his plans are to work at the Yale emergency department, I think he said, as an EMT. So good job to you, Purcell. Or Purcell, I think is probably how you said it. I apologize. But that was very inspiring. I really liked hearing that story. I wrote down Sierra and Nev again, of course, because I saw them anytime. I also got to see Katie, the X-ray tech. She was very excited to meet. I think I actually had Brianna the turtle with me at that point for the X-ray. I would bring down different stuffed animals with me for the X-rays. And Katie was really taken by that. I think it was Brianna, the turtle I had with me at that point. I remember she telling me about two of her stuffies are Casper and Boo. So I remember those. I got to see Amaya Johnson again for patient transport. Saul and Charday from food service delivery came up. I got to speak to Samuel Edward O'Brien, who I think his job is the attending physician, on the phone to argue about whatever my argument was. Not angrily argue, but like platonically argue. I lost those arguments, and that's fine. I think the nurse put him on speaker for me as we were discussing whatever my disagreement or point of confusion was. Bina Thomas, the RN, Bina, really, really wonderful. I got to see her more in the hallway than as my nurse, but I was lucky enough to have her. And then Amelina Latonio as my RN as well. On my surgical team, Peter Zahn and Alejandro were there, I think, one morning to check on me. And they seemed like they did more than a capable job. I think they met me out in the hallway when I was exercising. I wasn't in my room. From Duffy's surgical team, and here in the role of, I think, attending physician was Dr. James Passarelli. I talked to him first on the phone, again with a challenge I was having, and I lost that argument, as I recall. But he was very, he didn't cut me off. He was very happy to listen to the whole of my elucidation of my point of view, as well as my sort of proposal for what might be an alternative treatment and so forth. And ultimately, he didn't just shut me down. He explained why. to the point that I agreed and understood. Later, he came to my room in person in a very unhurried way, seemingly not having anything else to do but like to sit with me and make sure I was clear on anything, follow up, and I think really just to let me see him in person. We had met once. I had actually an office visit with him briefly a few months back in Dr. Duffy's office, pre-surgery, of course. I got to meet Dylan and Jonathan Fitzpatrick from Patient Transport, who, of course, brought me to see Sierra for yet another x-ray. Keisha brought me back up from Patient Transport. And I got to meet Ernesto from housekeeping. Really, really great energy, and he's in agreement that Maria is the best. I got to meet Medea from Nutrition Food Service. I had seen her a few times, I think in the elevator on all of those x-ray visits or IV CAT scan visits. And then she came in to bring me something, and so that was pretty nice. I got to meet Rafaela from Nutrition or Food Service. Elizabeth and Renee Waller, both RNs, took care of me. Mamta Bandari, RN, came to replace my dressing around my IV, my port. He's on the IV team, but for my port. Dr. M. McCarthy on the surgical team came. Purcell Boyd saw me again. I got to see Carol Moore again in diagnostic imaging. This time I saw Megan as my x-ray tech. Richard, patient transport. And then Maria came from housekeeping to introduce me to Marie, or maybe it's Mary. I might have had that wrong. I'm sorry. Like a housekeeping trainee. Who is wonderful. Later on, I got to see her all by herself doing great work. Dr. Ashti Shah from MIT, who I saw quite often, like most mornings, like from the surgical team to check on me. Really great presence to come in. Very capable. Always seemed to have as much time as I wanted to check on me, but certainly did her work, made sure I understand what was happening, gave me room and time for questions, prompted me with questions. Her name in Urdu, Ashti, means peace, and it really did feel like when she showed up, there was this oasis of peace flowing into the room, besides just the clinical capabilities. Allison from Food Service came by. I got to meet Shanae, came to draw blood for my lab work. Pat came in from maintenance to do some painting, I think because maybe they had Joint Commission coming, but they moved some furniture around to touch up, I guess, some scuff marks or something, and he came in just to look at everything first, and then I think he came in to touch up a little bit. He's very quick and efficient, and also just checking in if it's a good time for me and reassuring me it'll be quick, and happy to share his personality while I was there. I got to meet Amy, the discharge nurse, who I think I already spoke about, who I think I initially thought her name was Ada. Christina was the clinical tech. Then I got to meet Annie Marino, who was there to de-access my port from the IV team. So that's Anne Marino, who goes by Annie. I had Vera as a clinical tech very briefly. So Vera, the clinical tech, then Alexis, the dietitian, came. And I think I was just trying to learn what's okay for my diet. Then Eileen Montague, nurse, came to de-access the IV team. I think that was their second try. I think that's what happened. I don't quite remember. And the last person I met in that first visit was Dr. Zhao. And then I was sprung. 2 days later, I came back and I wrote another list of thanks. But they're probably looking for me. Anyway, the deepest thanks to everybody here at the hospital, especially here at Main 6, my home, from Barely Bear and my whole family, especially to those that I forgot. And again, I'm sorry if I got your position or name or pronunciation wrong. So, love, thanks.